Hey guys, for this episode, I am really excited to record. I'm excited to get into the podcasting zone. I want to let everyone know that I have a lot of guest episodes on deck. I've been really busy, and the thing with getting guests on a podcast, for those who aren't aware, is that it takes quite amount of time to process episodes and get the quality up and really do some review in terms of some of the top points in order to get our blog post up and everything like that. So it does take some time. So while we are starting to cycle through those guest episodes, just want to let you know we have some amazing guests coming up. So please always be on the lookout for those episodes. Today, I was reflecting after one of my friends, actually a few people actually discussed complaining today. And sometimes when I see a theme in a day, I like to just kind of focus my mental energy on it a little bit and think about it. So let's talk about complaints. So we all do it. We all have times where we're frustrated, annoyed, angry about society, angry about the things that are happening around us locally, upset about situations that happen on a daily basis. But I kind of want to look at the concept around complaints, think about, how it's useful, how it's not useful, and see how we might transform it. So like I said, complaining is a byproduct of a frustration, noticing that there is either a problem. One, it's either a problem, or B, it's a problem to you. And I kind of differentiate that, because if something's a problem, meaning like, for example, you're at work and there's a reoccurring issue that happens, and you see it time and time again, there's a reason to complain. Versus the ego, meaning that you believe that the world kind of should revolve around you, and you believe that, you're kind of the master, what have you. And the fact that something is annoying is happening to you in life, means that this shouldn't be happening to you, and life should bend around your will. And that would be the second kind of area of complaint, right? So the complaint is being frustrated about something. If it's an actual problem, that there's something going on in a more sort of global way, versus there's a problem happening to you. Sometimes it can be an illegitimate issue that's happening towards you, or it could actually be an illegitimate thing that's happening towards you, because what really is necessary is an attitude adjustment on your part. And it's kind of hard to tease out without any specifics, but just to say that either there's a legitimate problem, there is a problem within you that other people are doing something towards you that you're complaining about, or and it could be legitimate, meaning like the issue you have towards them. It's like the culture of the team isn't good, the group atmosphere isn't good, it's not a good fit, those types of things. Or the third is an illegitimate complaining about something about yourself or how you're around, how you're dealing with the situation, meaning that you need an attitude adjustment and it's on you. So those are kind of the three scenarios I can think of off the top of my head that, complaining would be where complaining would come up. Now, let's talk about the energy of complaining. Let's talk about what it actually does. So when you are complaining, when you're making verbal comments about an issue, the complaint itself, the reason why it's called a complaint and not necessarily a different term, is because you're mentioning the situation, you're bringing an awareness to the situation, and it also has a tonality of frustration, of anger, of upsetness, but there's no actual solvable change. There's no actual solution being brought up by the complaint. And as such, it's just an awareness piece. You're voicing your opinion, right? You're saying it out loud. And other people can hear it, they can understand it, but there's no energy or action towards a solution. So as such, it generally just stays there. The only way that the complaint will actually change in terms of transformation is if you speak, and then this person hears it, has their mind turning about how to possibly solve it. But usually when someone complains, they don't actually want that issue to be solved. They're just saying it because they're trying to express their grief or upsetness or sadness or anger or whatever around a certain topic, and they don't really want a solution. So generally what happens is when we call it complaining, it has the energy around it that it's just a way to indulge in someone's sadness or anger or frustration, which sometimes is necessary, honestly. Sometimes we need those spaces to vent. So as I'm painting this picture, I don't want to say that complaining is bad. I don't think anything is necessarily bad or good. There's a lot of gray in life. I think complaining serves the utility of releasing a frustrated energy. As you release it, if you keep complaining about the same thing over and over again, there was a mention about something that a different physician, Dr. Patty Barrett, much earlier in the podcast had mentioned before. You can wait a period of time, and if it's still, the complaints and the frustrations are still coming up, you can either A, change your attitude, or B, change your geography. There's only two ways to solve this. You have to change your attitude around something, or B, you need to change your geography, meaning you need to switch locations, switch work, change up a relationship, change up a situation, because that frustration keeps coming up for you. I guess I would have another, add in something else in there, is if it's a relationship issue or if it's a workplace issue, maybe open up and have the conversation to see if there's any other adjustments that could be possible. That would be, another solution there. So the complaining, if you want to actually try to solve it, those are a few ways to do it, right? So complaining in and of itself has a utility. It's a way to get the frustration, anger out. I often talk about things in terms of energy. Complaining happens generally when you're in a low energy state, when your body is tired, exhausted, hungry, you didn't sleep enough, and so your energy is low, and as such, you start to notice a lot more negative things, and negative things start to poke out in life a lot more. Whereas if you're in a positive state, you tend not to complain because life is good. And you're not frustrated. So another solution that I would add on as I'm thinking about that is to raise your energy level. And that's to take care of yourself, reduce pain, reduce inflammation, get good sleep, get good nutrition, start to, do different practices, whatever that is to you, such as exercise, gratitude, meditation, those types of things, to lift your energy, to lift your state of mind so that you tend just not to complain. And so that's another thing. Now, I'm going to talk about the positive aspects of complaining, and I already kind of alluded to this earlier. Complaining is super useful if you are able to convert the complaint into, again, a solution. So complaints are secret solutions in disguise, meaning it is a frustration point. And more than likely, if you're frustrated about something in life, in work, at home, what have you, as we often talk about in this podcast, creativity, use your creativity to create a solution. If the problem is so big, is so frustrating, so passionate within you, you are so frustrated about this problem that you cannot stop yourself from thinking about it, boom, scratch your own itch. You've just developed a business idea, because if you're that frustrated, I'm sure there's a lot of other people frustrated, and you've now created a solution. So when you look at a frustration point in life, look at it in terms of trying to solve it, because now if you solve that problem, you are more than likely going to be able to scale that, depends on the problem, of course, and create a solution that actually ends up being an innovation or a business idea. So sometimes our most frustrating pieces can be our boons, can be our way of creativity. And I talk about that because I was an unhappy medical student. I was frustrated, I was exhausted, I was anxious, and my solution was to reach out to successful, happy, and creative individuals. And as such, the Happy Duck podcast was born, right? So my frustration became the solution. So as you can tell, my secret internal complaints became actually the reason why I'm happy and excited. So as you can see through my reflection of this, I just want to say it again. Complaints can be negative and not useful, but they're actually secret opportunities to solve, grow, learn, and potentially actually gain happiness and excitement through that. So if you can transform the energy of complaining into something that is a little bit more useful, it ends up helping a lot of people, I think, in the long run. Complaining by itself without any change, I don't know if it's 100% useful. There is a utility, again, because it disperses energy and it gets kind of that stuff out. But if you're noticing you're complaining a lot, it might be important to check in and see how you can change how you operate, change how you think about things, or just get away from the situation to solve that problem. Hope that was helpful for today, guys. And my ask of you is to look at complaints different. Take some time to reflect on the words you're using on a daily basis, how you speak to people, and see if the way we speak, and I mentioned this really, it's very powerful. The way we speak to other people and the way we have our internal self-talk, those are reflections of things we might want to work on. And so if we're constantly complaining and frustrated, that's not always useful. So how do we transform that? How do we change it up? That's my question for you today. So as you're listening to this episode, please reflect and start to take a listen to what you're saying to yourself and other people. Hope you enjoyed that stream of thought for today, guys. Have an amazing day. I love everyone. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. I rarely do this, but after I recorded, I decided to hop on and add a little bonus because I was thinking about it a little bit more. And something I want to mention in a relation to this is a gratitude practice, because complaints, if you actually watch the words they're using and notice what you're actually complaining about, what you might notice is when you're practicing gratitude, such as like waking up in the morning, appreciating the fact that you have a body, appreciating the fact that you can even wake up in the morning, the fact that you get to experience life, the fact that you have food on the table, the fact that you even have an iPhone or a way to communicate with people, the fact that you might have some friends, might have an occupation, all those things. When you start to appreciate the little things, when you start to use the words, I get to experience life, I get to have a job, I get to work, then the complaint itself has a lot less power. Often what's happening with the complaints is that we are hyper focusing on minute details that we believe should be just available to us, or that are subtle annoyances, because we're looking at the 1% that is frustrating and not appreciating the 99% that's going right. And that's why gratitude practice is a great way to reset complaining, because when you are grateful for just having the opportunity to live and experience and just to be here, everything else is just, you're appreciating. Like if you look at the ocean versus the waves, when everyone looks at the surface, everyone looks at the waves of the ocean. Do you realize how immense the ocean is? Do you realize how much body of water is there for the waves to be there? So gratitude is kind of like seeing the ocean and forgetting about the subtle waves at the top. Whereas complaining is like hyper focusing on the turbulence of the waves and not noticing the fact that there's this beautiful ocean of beautiful foundation that has been there. So sometimes it's really important to reflect on the problems we're focusing on. My grandpa used to say this. There is never going to be a situation in life where you don't have problems. The real difference is the level of problems that you have. If you're complaining about the color of your comforter or the size of your bed or the color of your car or what have you, if you're complaining about minutia, like small little details in life, your life is really good. And I think it's the appreciation of what we have, that gratitude, that really allows us to reduce the complaints. I will say with a caveat, which is it's still okay to complain. It's still okay to be frustrated, because as humans, we're always there to improve and make things better. But I think it's also in balance with the fact that we have to be grateful for what we have. So that's a little add-on and bonus thought, because I thought that would be a really important tip and useful thought when it comes to complaints.